My Girlfriend Has a Tale, written by Robert Crowder and performed by Voops VA. Finally, groaned Kitaro, as the words steamed from his mouth. It was the start of summer break, the same old friend that greeted him every final semester. He could now look forward to sandy vacations, exotic foods, and more popular as of recent, a trip to the orbital station with the latest technology Earth had mustered in the past 7 years. He ascended the last flight of stairs and was immediately greeted by the cool air, the effects washing away the outside heat almost immediately. Not only that, but the kitchen smelled of rich, savory broth. He knew this because his old man had made it during his last days at schools. It was always a welcoming experience. With a sigh of relief, Kitaro kicked off his shoes onto the rack and headed past the living room. He faintly made out the news report from the TV. Apparently, someone had tried to murder a Haribin resident during a festival in Tokyo. It was the 7th anniversary of first contact by the Haribin, and mankind's primal fears of the unknown still lingered. Whatever else the story was about, Kitaro didn't bother to stick around. When he arrived at his bedroom, the musky scent of his clothes finally registered in his brain. His shirt was drenched in sweat and clinging to his armpits like caked cheese. Without stepping foot into his room, he tossed his backpack at his bedside and wandered into the bathroom for a quick shower. After a nice, relaxing shower, he closed the door to his bedroom, sat in his gaming chair, and pulled up his favorite RPG on the computer. All he needed now was the leftover bag of saltine chips, which he gleefully wolfed down. And now that school is over, to dominate the gaming world, he said enthusiastically as he cracked his knuckles. Hours had passed. How much? Kitaro didn't bother counting since him and his allies were wrecking enemy players by dozens of points. It had been years since he used the voice chat. But he didn't need to know that those halfway around the world were screaming into their mics. It showed in their gameplay. Then came a resounding thump. Kitaro turned behind almost immediately. He may have been wearing headphones, but he wasn't deaf. For a second, he thought it was a burglar, only to realize that it was just his girlfriend. There she was in all her beauty, and she was entering through his bedroom window. "Tresh, what are you doing here?" Kitaro said, surprised evident. "What? I can't check up on my man?" A soft smile crossed her face, her white teeth a stark contrast to her black fur. "It's summer, so I figured I'd stop by for an overnight visit." "Look, now's not a good time. You can't be here." Kitaro placed his headphones down, but before he could grab her, Tresh gracefully weaved away from him and stopped before his shelf of action figures. "Oh, still playing with dolls, I see. You're gonna have to get rid of those eventually," she said before picking up one of them. "Please don't touch those. They're one of a kind." Kitaro gestured uselessly with his hands. He didn't want to try to grab it from her. That might make things worse. He sighed in relief as Tresh gently placed the figurine back onto the cabinet. Good. Those figures costed him a lot of money. It'd be a shame if he had to buy them all over again. "Look, I know we haven't seen each other in a while. About a week at most," she said. "Has it really been that long?" "Well, yes, a week. But my point still stands. You can't just hop into my room like this, especially now of all times." "Why not? You like it when I, as you say, hop in unannounced?" She gave him a teasing smile at first, but then became serious. She was more focused now, reading all the signs of his body language, evident by her twitching nose. There was no point in lying to her. Heck, he doubted he could pull it off even if he tried. This was his girl after all, and relationships hardly went well when deceptions and omissions got involved. "My dad's home preparing dinner downstairs. He doesn't know we're dating." He allowed the words to slip. It was a relief. They actually didn't start dating until a year ago, and it was a surprise even to him that he could keep it a secret for this long. "What? Why?" she asked, taking her hand in his. "I'm sure he'd love to see me. The way you always talk about him, he sounds like a charming man. I just haven't told him. Part of me is worried how he'll react. Kataro's thoughts went back to the news report from earlier. It was far from the only incident. If you've seen the news, you'd understand. Not every Earthan has accepted your people yet. I'm trying to protect you. That's so sweet, Tresh said, a soft hum escaping her chest. After a few seconds, she released his hands and proceeded to lay on his bed, eyes staring up at him like a cat curiously gazing at its owner. Tell you what, if it makes you feel any better, I'll just sit here and not say a word. Kataro wanted to protest, but Tresh's choice was made. You really plan to stay, don't you? He asked. She nodded. I came all this way. You didn't think I'd go that easily. Besides, I don't mind watching you play your video games. They're fascinating, even if a little barbaric in my opinion. Kataro paused, lifting up his arms in a mock surrender. All right, fine. You can stay. Just try to keep it down. I don't want you getting caught. Tresh nodded in response before she whispered, I'll be as quiet as a cat. Thank you, was all Kataro said before returning to his gaming chair. This time he unplugged the headset so his girl wouldn't be sitting in silence for the rest of the night. When he'd read the chat logs, he was greeted by messages sent over 10 minutes ago. Apparently, his buddies weren't happy he went AFK for 3 rounds straight. Whatever. Girls before games was always his motto. And if he was being honest, he'd stopped caring about his KD ratio a long time ago. It was about the love of the game, not the points. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door, and Kataro instantly got to his feet. He glanced at Tresh waving his hand up and down, motioning her to hide. Tresh did what she was told, quietly making her way under his bed frame, like a child playing an anxious game of hide-and-seek. Nervously, Kataro walked toward the door, hoping it was just the wind or a mistaken bang of metal from the downstairs kitchen. With a final breath, and after ensuring Tresh was well concealed, Kataro opened the door. On the other side was his old man, a well-built 50-something still in his prime. Oh, hey, Dad. What can I do for you? Kataro asked. Dinner's ready. We're having ramen tonight. Spicy with lemon juice, just how you like it, said the chiseled man as he cleaned his hands with the apron. Just how I like it. You know me so well. A half-genuine smile filled Kataro's face as he looked up at his old man. I'm your father. There's a lot I know about you, his pops said with a chuckle. I also know you're hiding a girl in your room. No offense, but you're not as slick as you think. A chill ran down Kataro's spine for a brief moment. Just as he was about to say something, his father cut him off. I was young once too, kitten. I know all the tricks. How do you think I met your mother? Pause. Though I will say if she's going to come visit, the least she can do is use the front door. Kataro followed his dad's gaze as they both stared at Tresh, who now peered from behind the bed, like a groundhog popping from its hole. Her own little rabbit-like features made the display surprisingly cute, and Kataro found himself relaxing. Will you be joining us for dinner? His father asked. Tresh looked behind Kataro and his father before nodding slowly. Great. We're just about to eat. Hope you like noodles. Kataro let out a breath he didn't know he was holding as he watched his father descend the stairs. Something warm wrapped around his hands, and he saw that it was Tresh who stood right beside him, where she leaned on his shoulder. That played out a lot worse in my head, Kataro said. I thought he'd have thrown you out the window or something. He wasn't sure what he'd do if his old man really tried that. Not gonna lie, I kinda thought the same thing. Also, you never told me your dad was so fit. Looked as if he could bench an entire starship, she said, eyeing him. I don't know about all that. But hey, at least now I know he likes you. And I like you. She hugged him tighter this time. Now come on, I'm hungry. I've never had ramen before. With a tug on his arm, Kataro was led downstairs towards the sweet scent of food.